check this out. I am standing in front of a 2017 ZX10R, and Prestige Motorcycles here in San Diego has invited me over yet again to review this bike for you guys. So if you're looking for a used motorcycle, these are the guys to come to. But you know why I'm excited to ride this motorcycle? Because this motorcycle has won so many World Superbike races. Jonathan Rea has championed the entire World Superbike category with the ZX10R, and that's what makes this motorcycle so exciting to ride. The figures for this motorcycle are not surprising at all, but can you believe that in first gear you can hit 100 miles an hour on this thing? Yes, you heard correctly. What weight on this motorcycle is 450 pounds. It's got a 32.9-inch seat. It's got a 4.5-inch fuel tank, and it's 200 horsepower with 83.7 foot-pounds of torque. Other than that, it has a 5-axis IMU as well as launch control. So what else can you need in a World Superbike category leader bike with 200 horsepower? I don't think anything else. So the next thing left to do here is to take this bad boy for a spin, and oh man, I'm so excited. And just so you guys know, it comes with an M4 exhaust, and I bet you this thing sounds freaking amazing. Alright guys, let's get going. Alright, a cold start and a first ride on a ZX10R. Oh baby, it's always exciting when I ride a bike for the first time. Oh boy. So I've been told this has a 3/4 M4 silencer, which sounds freaking dope. You gotta love that inline 4 engine sound, man. That's what made me fall in love with my R6. Oof. Alright, first time on the road with the ZX10R. Oh wow, those pops and bangs. Oh man. So this does have a quick shifter, just not quick down. It's always a thrill riding a new bike for the first time. You have no idea what to expect. Everything is brand new. It's like traveling. You go somewhere brand new, you get new experiences, things you haven't seen before, things you haven't felt before. And that's exactly how it is riding a brand new bike, doing test rides for you guys. And I love it, man. I love this. I love this. So the bike still has a catalytic converter. Sounds freaking amazing. You upshift and it spits, and it's fantastic. It looks like the red line on this motorcycle is about 14,000 RPM. Maybe, maybe not. We're going to get it all the way up there. Just so you guys know, in first gear, this thing will top out 100 miles an hour. So I'm not exactly sure if we're exactly going to get the highest RPM range on this motorcycle or not, but we'll find out. That was freaking amazing. A lot of power. Oh, a lot of power. I feel I'm getting too carried away over here. I gotta focus on reviewing the bike for you guys. You know what I love about Kawasaki's? They make motorcycles that are easy to live with on the street, but they perform fantastic on the track. The throttle response is super smooth, and I love that about Kawasaki's. There's no harsh throttle response, there's no jerkiness, there's no on and off like you would expect in some other bikes. The seat height is not all that high, and the seat is tapered, so you're not sitting bow-legged and your legs are not spread too far apart, making it easy for short riders like myself to put one of their feet down with the butt hanging off to the left a little bit at traffic lights like we are right now. Well, was going to until the light changed, but you get what I'm saying. Easy to live with motorcycles that Kawasaki builds, and I think I like that a lot about them. Sharp handling. I mean, this thing is so easily flickable. That's what I love about Kawasaki's. I rode I had a Kawasaki ZX10R for about a week. My friend Mike lent it to me, and I absolutely love that bike. And this seems to have the same DNA as that ZX10R. I believe that was a 2019, but this being a 2017, it's got very sharp handling. I mean, I'm not really going that fast into the corners, but I've ridden so many bikes that I have a very good intuition on how a bike handles, and I can tell you that it's very easily flickable. It does feel a tiny bit heavy, but not by a whole lot. It is 450 pounds, but it doesn't feel that heavy. But overall, the ergonomics of this motorcycle are not that aggressive, and that's something about the Kawasaki line of motorcycles that I really enjoy a lot. The ergonomics on this is a bit more aggressive than the ZX6R, because unlike the ZX6R, which was made primarily for the road, this motorcycle is primarily a superbike meant for the racetrack. Jonathan Rea has been winning the World Superbike category with this very motorcycle for many years, and I'm really excited to find out what the new 2021 ZX10R has in store for us, because that's going to be completely redesigned and all new electronics and everything else, and you know, it looks very exciting. But considering that this is a 2017 model and it's not all that updated or anything like that, it still has all the bells and whistles of the newer ones, I think, because this has a 5-axis IMU, which is a inertial measurement unit, and back in 2017 they did it right by including that. Man, those little pops are amazing. Woof. For sheer excitement, I don't know, man. This is just as exciting as it gets. Leader bikes are where it's at, but they're just so ridiculous, man. 200 horsepower on the street is just monstrosity. Ridiculous amount of power. As far as the speed is concerned, well, let me tell you something. This motorcycle just does not disappoint. You got 200 horsepower and 1,000,000 foot-pounds of torque. What else do you want? It's got as much horsepower and torque that will rival the Earth's rotation. As far as the suspension is concerned, on normal everyday roads like the ones I'm riding right now, man, it's not that bad at all. I mean, it seems to be very comfortable. It's even got a more plush suspension than my Yamaha R6. That might have to do with the fact that the bike weighs 445 pounds wet, so it's got a 40-pound advantage over my R6. The more weight you add on something, the more plush the suspension is going to get, obviously. And I have taken off some weight off the bike, so that could definitely explain it, because the R1 that I rode was also a very comfortable bike, and when I went back to Prestige, when I returned the bike, I did ask him, and he said nothing was done to the suspension and it was completely stuck. Alright, you know what? Let's make a right over here and find some twisty roads. You really don't need to move past second gear on this bike on the street. Even if I'm doing 60 miles an hour, I don't think you need to move past second gear. First gear will do 100, but let's find out, you know, for scientific reasons, if we can go up the gears and it'll be a comfortable ride. Wow, look at that. 6th gear right now, and I'm doing 32 miles an hour, and engine is not choking, and the transmission is not giving me issues. Can you believe that? Man, you gotta love that about Kawasaki's. They are so easy to live with. The ZX6R that I had, I was doing 15-20 miles an hour in 6th gear, and it was perfectly okay with it. I'm telling you, the Kawasaki brand motorcycles are perfect motorcycles, not only for the track, but also for the street. Kawasaki makes unbelievable motorcycles for the street, man. And this particular one can be on the street and on the track. With other motorcycles, the throttle is off and on. It doesn't like being low in the rev range. It doesn't like being high up in the gears, 20-30 miles an hour. Like as an example, my Street Triple RS, you put that into 4th gear and you're doing 25 miles an hour, it's not gonna like that. But this motorcycle, it couldn't care less. Man, you gotta love that puttering. I love that about my R6 as well. That puttering sound at 4,000 or 5,000 RPM is just so amazing. Alright, here we go, some twisties. Oh yeah. Yeah, this thing just hugs the corners. Wow. Look at that. That's where this bike shines, in the twisties. Oh man, give me more of this. Woo-hoo-hoo. Damn, this bike handles phenomenal. Man, if this bike is as awesome as it is in the corners, and the way it handles, and the speed, and everything. Can you imagine what the new 2021 model, the newly redesigned one, is like? I can't wait to get my hands on that thing one day. But this thing tracks the corners so well. Wow, I am amazed. You gotta love the twisties on this bike. Listen to that sound. Oh my god. Oh, and the pops. You can just leave this thing in second gear all day and just ride. You don't need to get out of second gear on this bike. The gears are very tall. Not to mention the brakes are phenomenal. I'm just using my middle finger right now. One finger brakes, and that's all you need. The brakes are phenomenal on this thing. Wow, tips into the corners so easily. Of all the leader bikes that are out there, this has to be the cheapest one. But with Kawasaki's, you get so much for your money, man. Not only is this a super comfortable bike to ride, but it sounds damn good. Amazing electronics for a 2017. And forget about the new 2021 model. That is just dripping with electronics and gizmos and gadgets and everything else. You know, the only downside with these Kawasaki motorcycles, with the Kawasaki brand in general, is that, you know, they're not exactly exotic motorcycles that you would get with something like from the likes of Aprilia or Ducati, for that matter. Ducati's a red motorcycle. It's very exotic. Just hearing the word Ducati has a lot of history. Regardless, I think the Kawasaki brands are once again motorcycles that deserve a lot more attention than they're currently getting. Because as you already know, I ride a ton of different bikes, and I've ridden everything from the most expensive motorcycle that I've ever ridden was close to $55,000. It was a Ducati V4R. It was a Ducati Newport Beach's owner's motorcycle that he'd let me ride for a test ride, and I did a review of that motorcycle. With everything that he added on that motorcycle, the motorcycle came close to about $55,000. So that was the most expensive motorcycle I've ever ridden. But when it comes to sheer excitement, you can be just as excited riding this motorcycle as you are that. It's just that, you know, one is just a very, very exotic motorcycle and the other one is not. This one is a more budget-friendly motorcycle for someone who wants a very fast leader bike for the track and maybe once in a while for the street. God, no, I would never ever recommend this on the street. This is just way too much power. For someone to obey the law on a constant basis riding this motorcycle has a lot more self-restraint and discipline than I ever will. So if you're like me, don't buy this bike. It is just not a good idea. But if you're someone who's got a lot of discipline, who can take it easy on the street, but you're going to ride this bike mostly on the racetrack, then definitely buy it, because it is just a whole lot of fun and it is a whole lot of value. You get a lot for the money you spend on this motorcycle. As far as the quick shifter on this motorcycle is concerned, I want to talk about that before I forget, because there's a lot to take in. One thing I can tell you is that it is butter smooth. It is very, very similar to the S1000RR quick shifter. It's very light. It's not that heavy to pull up on the clutch. It doesn't have a lot of tension, so it goes up the gears very, very quickly. One thing it doesn't have, which I would put on this bike, is a quick down, but I believe the newer models do come with it. But of course there's aftermarket quick shifters that you can also add. Other than that, for a 2017 model, as you would expect, you get a very basic dash, part analog, part TFT, similar to the current generation ZX10R. I've been riding the bike probably for about 30 minutes now, and I don't feel that the handlebars are very buzzy. They're pretty comfortable. You're not exactly in a relaxed position. It is fairly obvious that you're riding a race bike, so it's a more aggressive position, very similar to my R6 and of course, you know, its competitors like the Ducati V4R and V4S and all those other crazy bikes. So to recap everything that we talked about so far, the bike is top-notch. It is very, very worthy of being one of the best leader bikes that are out there. It just doesn't get that much attention, as much as it should, to be honest with you. Handling on this motorcycle is superb. I couldn't believe how well it cornered and held the line. The steering was almost telepathic around the corners. Fantastic handling motorcycle. And as far as the road dynamics are concerned, you can be high up in the gears, ride this thing, and not worry that the engine is going to choke on you. Perfect for riding on everyday roads, and then on the weekends, take this thing on the track or the canyon, whatever exciting plans you have for the bike. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a review of a motorcycle that I've been waiting a very long time to get my hands on. And you know what? It almost feels like I'm completing a story here. First, I started with the ZX6R, and I absolutely loved that bike. The 600 class motorcycle introduced me to my Yamaha R6. So now, will I be buying a ZX10R as my next bike if I buy a leader bike? What do you guys think? Do you think I should get a ZX10R? If you think I should get a ZX10R, write down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And if you're interested in a ZX10R, this very bike that I just demonstrated today is available at Prestige Motorcycles, and you can get your hands on this very motorcycle. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed this review. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Ciao for now.